Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Greetings and salutations.
What are you doing here?
Today we are continuing our second episode of the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally series, a multi-part series that covers our entire 10 days, 24 hours north of home in South Dakota. So let's jump into day 3. All right, so welcome to the first official day of actually being at Sturgis. Today is a jam-packed day. We're going to head out and go do the wildlife loop. We're going to Mount Rushmore. We're going to Needles Highway. We're doing a lot of riding today. So that's what today's plan is. And yeah, we hope you join us. I'll show you as much as I can from day 1 on today's Graybeard Biker. So I guess we'll start with last night. So after we finished with our last Harley dealership, we turned off the camera, said that would be the end of episode 1, and we'd pick back up with episode 2. Well, I thought episode 2 would start today. It didn't. It starts yesterday because things happen. On the way here, we ran out of gas. So we ran out of gas. Luckily, we have another mode of transportation that we're carrying. So I'm going to go get gas. And I'll be right back.
Always exciting, always an adventure.
Alrighty, so I have now put gasoline from water bottle into Jeep and we're headed to the gas station. Luckily, it was literally, I got up over the hill and I could see the gas station, so it wasn't very far. We could have walked if we needed to, but yeah.
Hopefully we won't need to. Hopefully the 1 gallon of gas you were able to will get us there.
It's kind of like carrying your very own lifeboat, a little schooner on your ship.
A little dinghy.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, Lowe's is the gas station up here. Loves, whatever. And the gas can is 5 gallons, just too big to really carry on the bike comfortably when you're worried about it falling. And it's $33 for the gas can.
Just for the can, yeah, $33.
That's called price gouging. So I got a gallon of water, dumped the water, put the gas in there. So,
which is not a stable way to transport gasoline, but it is okay in a pinch.
Yep, it works. So, yeah, we'll see you again when we finally hit the cabin. We're even more delayed now. So, yep. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Sturgis. Crisis averted.
Yeah. Okay, so before we jump back into after the gas incident, let me show you some footage that we took when we first crossed over into South Dakota, before not being able to find an open gas station. Who decided to do that?
The sun slips low behind the hill. The air grows cold, but time stands still. Footsteps echo on cracked old stone. A whisper follows.
Hey, look! It's John, Paul, George, and Ringo.
Who can name all the apostles?
John, Paul, George, and Ringo.
Oh, the night. Chasing,
Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln, Tom Selleck.
chasing shadows, they pull me up. The battle's outside, but it starts with air. A flicker there, just past the trees. A shadow bend.
Now, how would you run out of gas, you say? Well, the stretch of road on 90 is extremely long with no food places and no gas stations, or very few in between. And hauling the trailer makes it where the gas mileage is that much worse. So we calculated how far we could make it. We thought we could make it to the next gas station, which was going to be a Love's gas station because we get discounts there. And yeah, we didn't quite make it. So after that, loaded the bike back up, decided, you know what? We've worked up an appetite. We're hungry. Let's go find a hamburger. Little did we know, again, just like the gas station, that was going to be hard to come by. All right, so for those of you that are wondering, Interstate 90 is extremely long
It
with
never ends.
nothing in between.
And you get caught in a vortex where everything will always be at least 2 hours away.
No gas stations, no restaurants. I'm hungry. We finally found a gas station that's open, but we've been driving for what?
4 years.
Well, this particular stretch.
4 years?
But there hasn't been anything. Matter of fact, we just stopped here to get gas again and to go inside to get some candy bar or something, right? And just met a guy. He says he's passed me. I've passed him 3 or 4 times. He saw the Jeep on the side of the road and me going to the gas station. So he figured he'd say hi. Hi, dude. I didn't get your name, but good to meet you. And he's from Tennessee. So we've been on the road together. Not together, but together. So good to meet you. And we're going to see if we can finally make it to Rapid City. See us. TP Wigwam. So that's something to note. South Dakota has very long stretches of highway with no gas stations or anything. Just prairie after prairie, grassland after grassland. So we got in last night, probably about 11:30 Mountain Standard Time, which means 2 hours from Eastern Standard Time. So it was actually like 1:30 in the morning. And we just shut her down and went to bed. So that brings us to today and this morning. Let's get going. Marvin. Hi there. A little shy, huh? It's all right, I've got one too. So I just got to meet the guy that owns the cabin here. Nice fella. And his granddaughter. So he told me that we could cruise around the property here, and they've got a running creek, so let's go look at that.
Very trusty. Oh, it's exciting.
Already.
This is his house. He's like just walk everywhere.
This place is just breathtaking. It's a great way to start your day. Now, as we mentioned, today we are taking on some of the most iconic roads in the Black Hills. Iron Mountain Road, the Wildlife Loop, Needles Highway, and of course the Needles Tunnel. And we'll stop at Mount Rushmore before wrapping up the day with a trip to Hill City for our first official Sturgis Challenge check-in. Let's get going. This morning started with a plan, but our GPS had other ideas.
Connected.
GPS logic always looks for the fastest route, which is great when you're in Atlanta. But here, fast isn't the goal. Scenic is the goal. And our shortcut happy GPS decided to cut out a lot of Iron Mountain Road. It skipped the legendary pigtail bridges, the one-lane sections of the roadway, and the one-lane tunnels that frame out Mount Rushmore perfectly as you exit them. Those are some of the road's most famous moments. The three tunnels, Scoville Johnson, C.C. Gideon, and Doan Robinson. Those are the names of the tunnels, no idea why. All positioned so that heading northbound, you will see the monument perfectly centered as you leave the tunnels. We missed those magical views this time, but now we've got one more reason to come back. Matter of fact, we weren't even going northbound. We were headed southbound towards Wildlife Loop Road, away from Rapid City, where our cabin was. You see, I'm the king of efficiency, and it made the most sense, not knowing that you needed to be going north on Iron Mountain Road, to go south towards the next thing that we were doing. It made the most sense to take 16A down from Rapid City to Iron Mountain Road. This is info that you need to know before you set out to take on this road. We didn't. We'll know better next time. But for this time, I was not happy. This is the way we were headed. This is the route the GPS took us. And this is the area of the road that we missed. And all along, we should have been going this way. So, some facts about this road. It's about 17 miles long, has 314 curves, 14 switchbacks, and 3 pigtail bridges looping over themselves in a corkscrew sort of arrangement. 2 one-lane sections of roadway, and 3 one-lane tunnels with exits that frame Mount Rushmore. It was designed back in the 1930s by Peter Norbeck and the Civil Conservation Corps, as was a lot of the roads around here. What we wanted was the scenic thrill of Iron Mountain Road, US 16A, a masterclass in deliberate detours. This 17 mile stretch of winding Black Hills roadway was engineered to slow riders down so that they could actually feel the ride, not just drive through it. This ride is specifically designed to showcase the scenery at a slow pace, often quoted as taking you 45 to 60 minutes minimum to let you savor the views around it. And we missed the majority of those things. But we did hit the store. and because the Black Hills likes to keep things interesting, as we were leaving Iron Mountain Road Shop Center there, we caught our first light rain of the day. Misty? Well, it was more than misty. It was a light rain. Not soaking, just enough to make the chrome glisten, the roads a little slick, and sting your bare skin while you're riding on the bike. But even with the missing pigtails and all of the other elements that Iron Mountain Road is known for, I would still say it's a must-do for any rider. We would soon find out this whole area is just breathtaking. This is no highway. This and the other roads that we'll go down, they're not highways. They are a rolling gallery. There's even a quote from the designer, Peter Norbeck, the architect of these roads, that says something like, if you want to do the scenery justice, don't drive any faster than 20 miles an hour. Or, better yet, get out and walk. Well, we weren't going to get out and walk. But driving slow, no problem. Stopping periodically, no problem. It's part of the adventure. Next, we rolled into Wildlife Loop Road, inside of Custer State Park. It is a twisting 18-mile ribbon that goes through the grasslands and pine-covered hills of the park there. Now, this loop is famous for close encounters with bison, pronghorn antelope, elk, prairie dogs, you name it. Now, as you saw on Iron Mountain Road, we ran across a herd of cattle walking down the road, which is kind of what I expected when on Wildlife Loop Road, only with bison, buffalo, along this road. However, as we were looking for them, we got over halfway through the ride and still hadn't seen them. So we stopped to ask where they were. We were told they were down at the very far end at a completely different entrance than we had entered, and it was going to take a detour to get there. Now, originally, we saw on the map that there was a shortcut to get there, but it's a gravel road, and it's raining, and I'm on a motorcycle. And so the fella that told us, don't go that way. Take the paved road. So we did.
It's just not tight.
You can see a fight starting right here between these two gentlemen because the one is blocking pictures for everybody else. That's also a reoccurring theme that you will see later on in the series. But we did see buffalo, or fluffy cows, as they are called locally. We saw several of them off the road and a few of them up close to where we were. But I have seen pictures and videos of other people that had them running right along beside them. Some of them even hitting motorcycles because they were idiots and revving their engine. So the buffalo came after them to shut them up. Note to self, don't be an ass to the buffalo. So, back to our facts. Originally, this was used as a place to drive the cattle herd or buffalo or bison herd in the 1800s, moving those big herds of buffalo from one place to another. But today, it's one of South Dakota's premier wildlife viewing rides. Custer State Park, created in 1912, is one of the oldest and largest state parks that we have in the country. It covers more than 71,000 acres. As you're driving on it, you'll notice it's large. As we continued to ride the loop, the light rain returned as well. Soft drops on our helmets, clouds rolling overhead. It wasn't too heavy, but enough to remind us how quickly the Black Hills weather can shift. And that we should have brought rain gear. Though, it wasn't really that bad. It's just enough to piss you off. Kind of like Seattle's weather. Or London. So we're in Custer State Park, and it starts raining. Starts sun showers, no big deal. And then the temperature drops. It's cool already. And then when you're wet and the wind's blowing on you, it gets colder. Well, it has intermittently rained on and off, not downpours by any stretch, just enough to be nasty. It's like Seattle up in here. So we took a break on top of a mountain where we're not supposed to be. On the motorcycle, at least.
Apologies in advance.
And so we were hanging out up here. It's not raining right now. Our next thing is Needles Highway. We just went through the wildlife loop. And so I would really like for it to be a sunshiny day today, but it's just not. Maybe we have more time at the end of the week we can come back. But we're still going to do it today, just the same. So let's go to the road.
It looks like there's no rain. Actually, it did stop. And we need to go up.
87.
Where did we see 87 at? Is it?
Right there.
Connected.
From there, we headed towards the Needles Highway, famous for its jagged granite pinnacles, or needles, and of course, through the famed Needles Tunnel, narrow and carved through the granite spires that we're talking about. Now, this road was also designed by Peter Norbeck, carved in the 1920s to show off the Black Hills natural rock formations. Now, the name. Needles are the eroded granite spires that rise up above the highway, said to have formed from cooling magma roughly 3 million years ago, and then slowly shaped by wind, water, and time. Whether any of that time-based stuff is true or not, it's named Needles because of this stone that's sticking up out of the ground. Highway tunnel itself is just 12 feet wide, 13 and a half feet tall. It is perfect for motorcycles, but still close enough to make you breathe a little, particularly if you slip or there's a car in front of you that puts on the brakes. Finally, we left the tunnel and continued up Needles Highway. We were going north at this time, towards Mount Rushmore. saw a few prairie dogs and had to turn around, go back, and show my wife because she loves animals. Every time we saw anything, she kind of freaked out. So, next stop, Mount Rushmore. Now, even if you've seen it in photos your whole life, because many of us have, rolling up to it in person is a little different. First of all, and most noticeable to me, it is not brown or tan or sepia like it is in all of the photos and posters that you have probably seen. It is straight granite gray, just like Atlanta's Stone Mountain.
All right, we are at the ice cream slash restaurant place. The ice cream part is called The Stand. The restaurant part is called Carter's Cafe at Mount Rushmore. And the significance of this place is they serve the very first ice cream recipe in the United States, which happened to come from Thomas Jefferson. And this is it. Now you may be asking yourself, why do you have a cone overturned in a cup? Well, it's because when we first got here, they didn't have spoons. Since we were standing there, they got spoons. So I moved it to a cup because I am not a fan of the mess. So, let's see. Well, it doesn't taste old. It's basically old-fashioned vanilla. It's good. Do good some syrup on it or something. Here at Mount Rushmore, government facility. This is why we got rid of the Department of Education. Right here. Principal. What do you do?
Wah, 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 wah.
Now, our next plan was to head up to Crazy Horse, then back up to Hill City. But we were running a little bit behind schedule because of the rain. So we decided to postpone Crazy Horse, and instead we rode into Hill City, known as the gateway to the Black Hills. And it was already getting dark, and they were fewer and fewer people there, but the Harley-Davidson t-shirt shop was still open. So we made our first official stop in the Sturgis Challenge to get that first check-in and first chip officially for the challenge on our trip. And then, just to keep the day consistent, the skies opened up one last time and it rained on us on the way back to Rapid City. Another round of light rain. Again, not soaked, just enough to make us wet and close out the day. And that's going to wrap up day 3, episode 2 of our little adventure. From our GPS's little detour on Iron Mountain Road to the Wildlife Loop to Needles Highway, Mount Rushmore, and our first Sturgis Challenge check-in in Hill City. If you've enjoyed riding along with us today, hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell, all of that stuff. It really does help us to keep rolling and share more of our adventures with you guys via the channel. Be sure to hit the notification bell to stay plugged into when we release our newest episodes. For example, the next one is going to be day 4 episode 3 of our Sturgis adventure. It's going to cover our visit to Deadwood and then riding through the Spearfish Canyon. So, until then, stay free. Keep it shiny side up.